And I invite you to welcome Amy Reisch, the Executive Director, mover, shaker, and inspiration of Marin First Five, who will preview the morning's program. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Well, mover, shaker. I was asked to give you a little bit of background as to why this topic and why this year. So first, a little tiny bit of history. Very soon after the commission was formed, the commissioners developed their vision for children in Marin. And that vision was a vision of equity. They didn't call it that. We didn't use that word as frequently 14 or 15 years ago, but that's what it was. And as they thought about how they were going to implement that vision, how they were going to work to move towards that vision, they realized that there were several big contextual issues that they had to keep in mind as they planned their work. One, in order to achieve a vision of equity for all children in Marin, systemic and structural inequalities had to be removed. Two, financial resources alone, and certainly First Five's resources alone, were not going to make that happen. And three, for First Five in particular, investing only in direct services which ameliorate the impacts of inequality was not sufficient. So these were not new ideas, but they informed the development of the Commission's operating principles and theory of change. And those have guided our work all through the years. Equity has become a hot topic in the last couple of years. Organizations, communities, institutions are talking more and more about equity, principles of equity, equity frames, equity lenses. This is a really big issue for many people. And some of that popularity, or that, really it's not popularity, but that concern and emphasis is because of many, many reports, mountains of data, and more recently, stark visual images of the impact on various communities of systemic inequity. And when we look at the disparities in health, education, housing, employment, political power, law enforcement, etc., we can't help but notice, when we look at that data, that race, color, ethnicity matter. And when race, color, and ethnicity matter across every aspect of people's lives, and they do, we have to talk about systemic racism. So, it's a funny thing to be clapping for, isn't it? So because there are many groups and organizations in Marin trying to grapple with how we resolve inequity, how we work to reduce inequity, especially for children, and because we heard from so many people in our community, at our communications forums and in other venues, that we cannot talk about equity without talking about race. And because of the national political discourse, if we can call it that, we thought that it might be a really good time to begin or join a frank conversation about race, equity, and inequity. And so here we are.